Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of Demo Live. This is a live stream slash podcast that happens every day from Monday to Friday at around 10 p.m. Let me reduce the music a little more, a little less. Yeah, so this live stream happens from Monday to Friday at 10 p.m. on YouTube and Twitch. And later on, the audio recording of this is available on Spotify, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, Ghana.com, JioSavan, etc. And if you are listening to an audio version of this at a later point of time, hi, thank you for doing so. Please share the episode on your social media or with your friends so that the number of listeners can increase and more people may be exposed to the kind of stuff that I do here. I think it is unlikely that today's episode will actually go on the podcast because a huge part of it is going to be visual. And if you are listening to the audio version of this on the podcast, because I did put it there, I would request you to come on the YouTube channel and check out the live stream, the video version of the live stream, because I'm today going to share with people some newspaper clippings. Like, so the first time I touched a computer was in the year 2002, I think. It was in a cyber cafe, and then I started using the computer on my uncle's in my uncle's office and stuff like that. But even before that, I had been obsessed with the internet and with what was happening on the internet at that point of time. And this was the time Google was just coming into existence, and Microsoft was the dominating force in the market. And because of this, I used to cut out newspaper clippings of Microsoft and Google and the prophecies of Bill Gates and the promise of a new startup called Google, which was a search engine, and how much of a challenge it was presenting to other companies, etc. The reason I want to share all this today is because we have all been talking about the deification of capitalists in recent times. So some of these are things that seem very stupid in retrospect, but they were spoken by really well-known rich industrialists like Bill Gates back in the day. So we're going to look at some of those things and we're going to see what exactly happened. It is a strange experience to read the predictions of smart tech people from the year 2000. All the newspaper clippings I'm going to share are from between 2000 to 2005, early 2000s. It's a lot of fun to look at these and then see what happened to the companies, what kind of predictions they made, what kind of directions the thing actually went in. And of course, the regular chat will also continue and we will do all of that also. But before we do that, let me just take a look at the live chat. There are a few people here. Samarth is here. Awara Billa is here. Abhinav says, "Hey Vimo, so happy for you. ये तो शगुन वाला एपिसोड है. 101 के लिए congratulations. 100 के लिए congratulations. Okay, thanks Abhinav. Sarvesh is here. Messi is here. Batman Begins is here. First, like the video and say hello to Vimo. Yes, everyone who's watching, please like the video. Likes हमेशा थोड़ा कम होता है, पता नहीं क्यों. Our Abdullah says, "Yo, Batman Begins." Okay, so people are here. I have also been wanting to run something by all of you, which is that I decided to do daily live streams sometime back, and it's been fun, of course. But when I'm doing the live streams, one of the things that is on my mind is that I have to keep in mind that this thing is broken. It's a Kakashi thing. I think I've shared this before. It's leaning forwards, not broken, but I need to make sure Kakashi's posture is correct. But yeah, what I wanted to say was that I've been burning out a little bit. Like so, at some point of time in the near future, maybe a week or two from now, I will take a break from the live stream. I don't know when it is going to be. So preemptively, I'm letting you know that there are going to be a couple of weeks of maybe a weekly live stream. Maybe I'll only do it on Friday night or something, but then it will eventually return to a daily schedule. But I have to do something about the burnout because it's not possible to do these things with no end in sight on a daily basis. So I just wanted to give you a heads up. It's not going to happen tomorrow. It's not going to happen day after tomorrow, but we shall see. Apurv says in real live stream from holiday. Yeah, sure. I have been thinking about it actually. I figured out how to do it from my phone. I have software installed and everything. But we'll see. If I do take a holiday, I will definitely try to do at least one live stream from. Like one of the ideas behind the live stream was also that like if suppose I'm visiting Comic Con or something, I can maybe do a live from there. I can show people what's been happening and talk to the people who are there. And I don't know if the internet connections on my mobile will support a live stream such as that, but I'll definitely try. That was one of the goals. Like this should be a rough, you know, live stream of consciousness kind of thing. But we'll see. We'll see. Hello to everyone who's joined the chat, all the 20 people. So let me share with you the first newspaper thing that I wanted to share, which is it is about the beginning of Google. It is, hold on, let me share my screen. Yeah, can you see this? Right. So uh, this is a newspaper clipping from the year 2001. It appeared in the Hindu, I think, but it was the source was the Telegraph Group, and they were talking about this new tech startup. And the reason this was an amazing new thing was because tech startups were like the tech area was full of really suit wearing company, IBM, Microsoft kind of thing. So this t-shirt generation, this these days still we have this thing, right? Startups are very casual and they're not proper offices, etc., etc. A lot of things have changed in the last 20 years, but Google was one of the first companies to do this. The cool campus and the cafeterias and all that. Before this, the image of the tech company was very, how do I put it? It was very uh, businessy. It was very IBM. So let me just read a bit from this for you. Larry Page, and I've lost like that part. There's a hole in the article there because I stapled it wrong. Larry Page, a graduate of the University of Michigan, is half of the brains behind Google, the internet search engine, which is the Manchester United of its sector. By that, I think it's a challenger or some sort. And later on, searching is one of the most important functions on the web, second only to email, says Page. Sadly, it is not perfect. Google, he admits, has a long way to go before becoming the ultimate search engine, and the one where and the one where the computer instinctively understands exactly what you're looking for when you plug in your search terms. This was a dream since the beginning, and now we are in that age because the computer does seem to understand on a very human level what you're looking for. Full back then, I believe search, like when you had to search, you had to use signs like plus and brackets in the search term. As far as the search engine, there was a search engine called Alta Vista before Google. It no longer exists, but it had some rules about how to search. Google was the first search engine into which you can just type a phrase the way you would write or speak it. Uh, it particularly frustrates Page that Google's search engine, which currently scans a formidable 1.3 billion pages on the web within a second, cannot gain access to more of the web. The New York Times and CNN cannot be searched beyond the limits of the site itself. So that was one of the problems. But these days, I suppose SEO is everywhere, and everyone has to kind of deal with it. But yeah, this is basically an article about how cool Google is, and maybe we'll return to it, maybe we will not. But I don't know. Read the whole thing here. uh, Sumana says, wow, these newspaper cuttings is gold. Thanks, Sumana. Samat says, I was very young during that Y2K thing, which kind of took over the media before the beginning of the year 2000. I want to know if you remember anything in the newspapers about it or if you have a cutting. Yes, I do. And I don't think it is in this folder, but let me see. Hmm. No, I don't have anything in this folder, but maybe I'll find something in the other one. There are like this is just a selection of what I have, so I will find it and I'll show you. Shreya says one newspaper article which I would never forget and forgive is from the late 2000s where they hyped up biotechnology by calling it the next big thing and said it will boom in India. Oh yeah, मैं कॉलेज शुरू करने वाला था एंड आई वाज थिंकिंग ओके मैं आर्ट्स में जाऊँगा, मैं पॉलिटिकल साइंस, इकोनॉमिक्स, लॉजिक, इंग्लिश लिटरेचर ये सब पढ़ूँगा एंड अ नेबरहुड आंटी गिव एडवाइस टू माय पेरेंट्स दैट बच्चा स्मार्ट है इसको बायोटेक्नोलॉजी में डालो. I have still no idea why she thought that I would be good at biotechnology given that I had no aptitude for science. I had no aptitude for academic science, let's just put it that way. But fortunately, I didn't go that way. Manmat says, sorry for being late to the party. I had a minor accident. Somebody bumped me while I was having tea at a tapri. After a few band-aids and some painkillers, I'm here. Vimo chalna chahiye. Arey, I hope you're feeling better, Manmat. I hope it's nothing serious. Sorry you had to go through that. Shreya says, I chose biotechnology as my graduation stream and have regretted it ever since. India में funding ही नहीं है for expensive biotech research. And after biotech, सिर्फ processor ही बन सकते हैं. Feel cheated. Oh man. I suppose you're young. You can still change the direction of your career. I like yesterday I was telling Awara Billa, right? One of the mistakes we make while going into any new career is that we think that this is going to last for the next 50 years. Our parents have this obsession with stability, and that is a product of their generation, of course, but it doesn't really work out like that. Most of the job All of the people who are in the chat right now either have children who are working to be professionals, or they are professionals themselves. In 20 years, every single job that people have, that job does not exist right now. In fact, if that job is explained to people, people will not know what the duck people are talking about. Imagine talking to someone from the early 2000s and telling them about being a YouTuber. YouTube ही नहीं था, YouTuber क्या समझ में आएगा? So yeah, and that's one of the reasons I'm showing these newspaper clippings. Let me show you another one. Um, right, so we just saw Google ka, this thing that Google is coming out and it's so cool and all that. And then we have, hold on, this sharing thing is a little cumbersome. Then we have this. Can you see this? Rivals take pot shots at Google ahead of IPO. So Google का जो स्टॉक मार्केट में IPO आना था, वो आने से पहले माइक्रोसॉफ्ट एटसेट्रा स्टार्टेड सेइंग गूगल का कोई फ्यूचर नहीं है वगैरह वगैरह. And this newspaper article starts with, is the Google bubble over before it even began? Even before Google Inc. reaches its hotly anticipated initial public offering, the web's top search portal finds itself facing tough competition from deep pocketed rivals and an upstart, Linux like cooperative. It also faces skepticism from potential investors who worry that expectations for Google have outrun the reality of a competitive market. Yahoo Inc. and Microsoft, Yahoo कहाँ Yahoo है ही नहीं अब. मतलब है, पर it's not what it was. Yahoo at one point of time was the default internet destination for anyone who was not into MSN. MSN means Microsoft Network. Microsoft का अलग से पोर्टल है. Yahoo and Microsoft Group are betting that they will be able to unseat Google as the internet's top search destination. Google itself concedes that its lead will be a tough one to defend. Larry Page, one of Google's co founders, said he expects the search market to be a healthy market with many companies. We have really, unfortunately, even Larry Page could not have anticipated that probably Google is going to be the dominant search engine in the market, because we still don't have any other alternatives to Google, any other major corporate alternatives. We have other alternatives like DuckDuckGo, which are primarily predicated on the fact that Google is a corporate product and there are privacy concerns, obviously. But even Larry Page thought that Microsoft and Yahoo are going to catch up, but they didn't. But the recognition of having its name being used as a verb and being crowned the world's number one brand is piling pressure on Google. Google's biggest weakness is its popularity, says Danny Sullivan, editor of industry tracker searchenginewatch.com. तब तब ये सब वेबसाइट्स भी थे कि कौन सा, there were a bunch of search engines like Google, Alta Vista, Lycos, MSN.com, Microsoft wala, Yahoo.com obviously, and there were websites which kept watch on all of these. I don't even know if these things exist anymore. When you are on top, everyone takes swings at you. Indeed, web portal and media provider Yahoo has come on strong in recent times. Experts said Google provides some technology for Yahoo, although that relationship will come to an end over the next few months. Microsoft, the world's largest software company, has also identified search as a strategic market and has assembled a team in the MSN Internet division to design a better engine. MSN said on Friday that it would launch a new search engine in July, mainly with key changes to the way advertisements are displayed alongside search results. This was probably a response to AdWords, which was also being talked about a lot that time. We think that's going to dramatically improve relevancy, says Yusuf Mehdi, MSN Vice President of Information Services. Despite Google's lead, its competitors are quick to note that an estimated 60% of search queries do not yield the results users were after. This month, Yahoo launched a new local web search tool that integrates its popular map service with listings for restaurants, hotels, movie theaters, and banks. Google followed with a local service of its own last week. So this is what was happening, and I suppose uh, in the coming months, it became very clear that Microsoft was never going to catch up, and that Yahoo was also not going to catch up. Yahoo had the opportunity of buying Google, acquiring Google. Google's owners went and tried to sell it to Yahoo, and Yahoo did not buy it. Um, Samad says, do we have cuttings where politicians are promising flying cars in the year 2020? No, but we have capitalists, which is close enough, I guess. Dhirubhai says, my mom was watching Beer Biceps and Abhijit Chavda, told her not to watch them and made her switch to Neil Tyson's Cosmos instead. People really want to listen to stories, but the qualities of the stories matter. Yes. I hope that you are not forcing your mother to watch something she does not want to. But yeah, advising her is okay. Sumana says, काश तब मेरे पापा गूगल के स्टॉक्स खरीद लेते. Shreya says one option was to go abroad. Many friends did, but that option was available to the privileged. अभी सब ठीक है वैसे. Post MBA अभी चल रहा है, thanks to IIM, but BT still gives me mild PTSD. Avarabilla says experts in the field think it's impossible, as even Einstein himself said he would never harness energy from nucleus of atoms, and here we are. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I suppose Larry Page or the whoever was speaking on behalf of Google in that article was being humble. The point is, you can never predict what is going to happen. So even when you hear things like, mark my words, AI is going to be more dangerous than atomic bombs by Elon Musk, you should know that Elon Musk is still trying to sell something. These are not predictions about the future being made by someone who knows what the future brings. These are sales pitches by really rich people in order to create a market for the product that their company is building. Manmat says academic teaching and applied skills have a huge gap. The difference is so big that it does not matter what you study. Most people, you'll do something else. Of course, problem solving skills matter. Sumana says, how did you find these paper cuttings? Sumana, I cut them out of the newspaper myself. I was in college. We didn't have a computer. And I was really fascinated by the internet industry. So I used to look for this stuff and cut it out and keep it in a file. These are from that file only. In fact, when the live stream ends, I'll share a URL with you guys. I have scanned all of these and put them up on the web on a Quora blog. And you can just download and keep them if you want. Abby says, for a proper 90s kid like me, Ritik Roshan was all the rage in 2000s. He made dancing a cool thing for a whole generation of boys. Yeah. I remember there was an article in Shiv Sena's Mouthpiece written by Bal Thackeray, I believe. And he said, finally, a Hindu hero. Because back then, Amir Khan, Salman Khan, and Shah Rukh Khan were the trio of Bollywood. And nobody else was near them. Shreya says, oh, I once tried something called Onion browser, which is supposed to help you access dark web. Teenage curiosity की वजह से, so I wanted to know क्या क्या होता है वहाँ पे. Evan says, Subhana, he was probably alive. I was alive. It's the year 2000. I'm 40 years old. I was just getting to college at that time. Shreya says, but then I read in some newspaper कि it's illegal and police आ सकती है घर पकड़ने के लिए, तो फट से delete कर दिया. Haven't gone back to it ever since. Out of context, thank you for the 60 rupees super sticker. Much appreciated. Everyone else, if you want to support the channel, you can send a super chat also. This podcast is sponsored by you. You can also click the join button below this video to become a member so that recurring payments can be made 159 rupees a month so that all of the money goes into maintenance of my online work, my writing, my podcasting. I buy software with it, I buy books with it, I pay bills with it. This is my full-time work now. So if you want to help, you can. Thank you. Thank you, out of context, one more time. Dhirubhai says, of course, I use only my excellent persuasion skills. Nice. Kavish says, please read Onion News. They do really comic version of... हाँ, Onion पढ़ा है. Onion बहुत पुराना है. I mean, when this stuff was happening, then also Onion was there. But hold on, let me share another clip with you, which follows from that one. This is kind of funny. Hold on. Share. Yeah, can you see this? Microsoft web search engine may roll out within the year. They were really under pressure. They wanted to have a search engine presence because Google was giving them a run for the money. And they, like Steve Ballmer here, scratching his head, is announcing the possibility of a Microsoft search engine sometime soon. Wait. Microsoft is set to launch its push into the web search market, currently dominated by Google. This I don't know what year this is from, but this has to be sometime between 2003 and 4. Microsoft is set to launch its push into the web search market, currently dominated by Google and Yahoo. Chief Executive Steve Ballmer said on Thursday, speaking at an online advertiser conference sponsored by Microsoft's MSN Internet division. Ballmer said the Redmond, Washington-based software giant will begin rolling out its own search engine technology within 12 months. Right? And then I'm not going to read the whole thing to you. Uh, Ballmer says, that's probably the thing I feel worst about, he said. Nevertheless, Mr. Ballmer vowed that Microsoft would more than make up for lost time. We are committed to do it very, very, very well. I think you will see a lot of good competition in the area, he said, vowing that Microsoft would become absolutely the best in search. So ये तो मतलब थोड़ा होके रहेगा टाइप का रेटोरिक है. It never happened. MSN Search tried to rebrand itself. Bing happened, but I don't think anybody has come close to becoming the best or very, very, very good compared to Google. European regulators ruled on Wednesday that Microsoft remove its Windows Media Player from Windows. हाँ उस टाइम पे Microsoft के खिलाफ बहुत सारा एंटी मोनोपोली थिंग्स भी चल रहा था because Microsoft had been accused of dominating the market. Internet Explorer was said to be the most popular browser, but the only reason it was the most popular browser was because it came free with every copy of Windows. So it's not like people loved Internet Explorer so much that they were downloading it. They had no choice. It was on their machine and they used it. And I suppose that was being used as a proof that it was the most popular browser. But yeah, Microsoft was, undergoing a lot of trouble back then. Hold on. Out of context, I sent another super chat for 100 rupees. Thank you, out of context again. एक बार में भेजने में कोई प्रॉब्लम है एक एक इंस्टॉलमेंट्स में भेज रहे हो बट आई सपोज आई एम नॉट कंप्लेनिंग श्रेयस सेज इंटरनेट एक्सप्लोरर तो एक जोक ही बन के रह गया एज भी कुछ खास नहीं यूज़ करते हैं लोग आई हैव सम फ्रेंड्स इन माइक्रोसॉफ्ट जो चुप चुप क्रोम यूज़ करते हैं आई एम टोल्ड दैट एज इज़ एक्चुअली नॉट बैड एट ऑल आई एम टोल्ड दैट एज इज़ एक्चुअली क्वाइट गुड बट जो ब्रांडिंग है जो मार्केट डोमिनेंस क्रोम का है वो अब तक गया नहीं एंड क्रोम एक्चुअली रोज टू पावर वेरी फास्ट I remember Scott McCloud, the comic book creator. He was roped in by Google to create uh, a web comic, explaining a brief history of the web browser and how it works, etc. It was marketing done extremely well. Internet Explorer never had that, and Google knew who the target audience was. And Chrome, I think there were some people who were saying, "हाँ, अभी तो बहुत लोग download करेंगे, but within a few months it will die down." But nobody ever recovered from Chrome. Opera still around, but not the most popular browser. Even though Opera has various features that are completely missing from Firefox and Chrome, Firefox never recovered. Chrome used a lot of open source code in order to be what it is. But yeah, Confused Ape says, I remember reading an article in early 2000s that predicted huge progress in carbon nanotubes with super strength. We are still far away from it. Uh, from day-to-day usage, it predicted. Kavan says, I wonder what happened to Orkut. Orkut was shut down, right? Not very long ago. It was shut down a few years ago. It had been around, but it was shut down. Survey says a lot of Microsoft's offerings got challenged by other folks, Google, Chromium browser, and Linux. Probably the only thing that was stuck in MS Office, which is now getting pushed by Google Docs. Yeah. Kavish says only Safari is competition to Chrome, but because of Apple. Yeah, I suppose Safari very popular. Samira says hi. Hi, Samira. Manmad says Microsoft faltered in such key areas that is difficult to digest. Search failed, mobile failed, server failed. King of consumer desktop, everywhere else non-existent. Result of epic complacency. Well, I don't know what the cause was because I'm not really that deep into it. But I do have another news report to show you that, yeah, I do have a date for this. This is from November 22, 2002. And this will really make you scratch your head. Hold on. Hmm. Right. So this is about Microsoft saying that the tablet is the future and that Microsoft is going to be the first mover in this regard. And they were the first mover. They were the first people to create the tablet. Unfortunately, hold on, let me just read it. Hold on, here comes the latest in electronic gizmos, the all new tablet PC. This is from November 22, 2002. And yes, I was alive then and I cut it out of the newspaper. So it goes, this is all good news for techno freaks. The all new tablet PC was launched on November 7th. Does this mean these computers are going to replace the coolest little laptops of the 20th century? Will this tablet PC suffice our everyday needs? A lot of questions pop up here. During the launch of the tablet PC, Microsoft chairman Bill Gates said that a decade and many millions of dollars do make a difference. He swears Microsoft has finally figured out how to make usable pen controlled computers. But the question remains but questions remain. The tablets boast of many of the best features of both handheld personal digital assistants and full-fledged portable PCs. But they also combine some of the worst features of PDAs and PCs. Tablets are about luggable as standard size desktop, so it is not convenient for a PDA user who prefer the portability of sleek little machines than this bulky tablet. So as you can see, it's quite large. It's I guess it's this big. It's the size of a laptop basically without the keyboard. So what is the tablet PC all about? I'm skipping a whole lot of it. I'll share links to all of these things. You can read them afterwards. I'm skipping a bunch. So what is the tablet PC all about? Tablet PC is an evolution of the portable PC. It takes the best from a standard laptop and adds features that would make you think about retiring your laptop. To start with, it uses multimodal input. You can input with keyboard, pen, or voice. While you may be committing a social faux pas by burying your head behind a computer screen as you click on a keyboard during a meeting, you will feel perfectly comfortable taking notes in your own handwriting on the tablet PC. Even better, the handwriting recognition in tablet PC can take your handwriting and transform it into digital text. You can then search your handwritten notes. I will not lie, my mind was blown when I read all this. Like I would desperately wanted a computer of my own, but could not be afforded. But my mind was blown. I used to go online and read about all this fancy techno. What? You're going to be able to write? You're going to be able to write on the screen with a pen, and it's going to be turned into a font? What crazy science fiction future am I talking about? Am I living in right now? But yeah, it's kind of a longish article. But here is the reason it didn't work. The operating system, the OS is obviously a modified version of Microsoft Windows XP Professional with a few extras, but certainly such a delicate and more impressive OS trummels the tablet to a usable PC. When it comes to everyday use, the Office expansion pack and Journal are the most likable tablet edition applications. If you take notes, Journal proves excellent and easy to use. You can choose different pen types, say for a bright red marker to fine black. Wow, such features. So much wow, such features. But yeah, Windows XP, I suppose, was the reason this did not work very well. And that that was the end of that because I have used a Microsoft Pocket PC in the form of an HTC Touch phone, and it didn't work very well. I mean, it had the interface. The interface was trying to be as close to the desktop interface as possible. It had menus and everything, and it was incredibly hard to actually make contact with a tiny bit of text on screen that you wanted to. So it didn't actually work very well. But yeah, this was the fate of the tablet PC, so to speak. Hmm. Aditya says Edge is decent, but Bing is horrible, and Microsoft is extremely insistent that you use it, makes it extremely difficult to like it. Opera is a shady product that has several anti-privacy practices. Okay, severe anti-privacy practice. She says I was a big fan of Hannah Montana. She was my life's first crush ever. I remember हमारे पास केबल नहीं था घर पे, so I used to go to my friend's house and watch the show. Not so good old days. Sumana says I used DuckDuckGo or Onion on Apple. Okay. Kavan says, what do you think our world would have looked like if the internet became a thing 10 years after it did? Hmm. That's an interesting question because you're not asking if the internet had become a thing 10 years before. Because then my childhood would have had the internet. And I suppose when I was a child, the internet was there, but it was still limited to the people who could afford a personal computer. But I don't know. Maybe I'll have to think more about it. I cannot, off the top of my head, I cannot speculate. Puneet says, "Yet TOR kya hai? Tor. I have heard it used for hacking and shady stuff. Tor is an anonymity enabling software. That's all I know about it. Maybe someone else can tell you more." Shreya says, "I'm not sure if you guys know about it, but Brave is a really great new browser. It is visibly faster and also guarantees privacy and avoids unnecessary user data saving, backing up from their side." Yeah, so I have heard about Brave also. I don't know. I have also heard bad things about it. I'm blanking out about what those bad things are, but they are there. They were there. DDG is a bit shady, but it is still useful in terms of shortcuts. DuckDuckGo, DDG. Avarabilla says, on the point of Elon saying AI will be evil, don't you think that's a human tendency to kill the competitor? Yeah, but competition in terms of capitalism means something different. Uh, and yes, when a human being says that AI is going to destroy us, that human being is probably making the same kind of mistake that other human beings will, because what we are assuming that the AI will act in the way that we have acted, and maybe it will not happen. If you go back and listen to the conversation with Meghnad I had on one of the live streams, the live stream title is Meghnad drops in or something. We talked about AI for a little bit, and I would highly recommend subscribing to a channel called Isaac Arthur, ISAAC ARTHUR, Science and Futurism. It's called. If you just search for Isaac Arthur, you'll find the channel. On that channel, search for AI, and a lot of videos will tell you exactly all the different points of view, all the different lenses through which we can look at the AI issue. Shreya says Moses के टैबलेट से तो बेटर एंड लेस क्लंकी ही लग रहा था. Our Abela says, and for the IQ differences in them and us, we should be having access to humanoid cyborgs, and we would also be at the same level. IQ is not the way to measure intelligence, I think. I think IQ is an outdated mode of measuring intelligence. I don't think when we eventually become when we eventually live in a world where AI lives alongside us, IQ is not going to be one of the things that we measure things, because the difference in their ability to calculate is going to be so vast that हमारा मतलब जैसे the difference between 20 kilometers and 500 kilometers looks a great big thing. But when you look at it from the cosmic point of view, where things are so far away apart from each other, that light takes millions of years to get from one point to another, the difference between 20 and 500 doesn't look very great. Similarly, हम लोग IQ मतलब हम लोग जो 60-200 के बीच को लेके बहुत ज़्यादा ऑब्सेस हो रहे हैं, उस टाइम पे the range of intelligent possibilities will be so vast, IQ will stop mattering. And it's problematic even now. Uh, like maybe you can search for it and read some about it. Someone says, since DDG and Onion don't collect your data, it's really hard to find the things you're looking for, and then Chrome will give you exactly what you've been looking for. Yeah, we have been we have been we have been selling privacy in exchange for convenience. Sarfaraz says, "Hey Vimo, hi Sarfaraz, thank you. Keep up the good work. Laughter." Okay, Sarfaraz is using the emoji. यार मुझे StreamYard का एक प्रॉब्लम पता है क्या है कि जो इमोजीज इतने मेहनत करके बनाए हैं वो दिखते ही नहीं है स्क्रीन पे. लोग इस्तेमाल करते हैं, पता चलता नहीं है. नास्तिक says, my dad changed his WhatsApp profile picture to Indian flag for the first time. आज घर में झगड़ा करना पड़ेगा. Samarth says, I use Edge to download Chrome whenever I reinstall Windows. That's the only time I use Edge. Yeah, that's the only time people use Internet Explorer also. Um, Manmat says Tor is a web browser 10 times more private and secure than your average browser. Okay. Avarabilla says best browser is ungoogled Chromium if you are looking for privacy and open source. Sumana says honestly, TikTok is the shadiest app ever. I have a vague login for TikTok and it still somehow figured out everything about me. Okay. Yeah, TikTok has some problems. Yesterday there was news that TikTok might actually be getting into podcasting. TikTok music is a thing that's about to start. So a few things are going to happen with TikTok. We are not going to get them in India, but TikTok videos are going to be as long as 10 minutes long. TikTok music is starting, which means audio content is going to be on TikTok. And when TikTok music starts, it is possible that it will also become a platform for podcasting. So fingers crossed. Let's see where this goes. आकाश says TikTok is banned. How are you using it? आकाश सब लोग इंडिया में नहीं रहते. TikTok इंडिया में बैंड है, पूरी दुनिया में बैंड नहीं है. When someone says TikTok is banned and they're using it, you should assume that they don't live in India. Um, so let me show you another. Yeah, so this one is the funniest. I mean, I have a few more that are funny, but let me show you two before I proceed. The first one is Bill Gates की भविष्यवाणी. Hardware will be almost free in 10 years. And he said this in the early 2000s. So by 2010 or even 2015, hardware should have been free, but it wasn't, obviously. Hold on, let me just try to realign the window a little bit so that. Is this better? Yeah. So hardware costs will fall sharply within a decade to the point where widespread computing with speech and handwriting won't be limited by expensive technology. Go back to what I said in the beginning of this episode. Is Bill Gates saying this because he has some vision about the future? Or is he saying this because he wants more people to use the clunky tablet device that they were trying to sell? Once you have understood why Bill Gates is saying this, apply it to the things that Elon Musk is saying right now. When he's saying that humanity must go to Mars, is because he has a space division in his corporate basket, and he wants to create possibilities for that business, and that is why he's kind of selling this thing up. He's talking a lot about space exploration. He's talking about science fiction. It's all a made up image. He is a businessman. He's trying to do his business. He is putting things into the market. He has a lot of followers. If people start talking about it, then there will be buzz about his company. So Bill Gates here is talking about hardware will be almost free in 10 years, around the same time that Microsoft was talking about launching a tablet PC, and that tablet PC had technologies like handwriting recognition and turning text into font and all of that we just talked about. Bill Gates was not a visionary, still isn't. He was trying to sell stuff. He's a salesman. Uh, Microsoft has often been at odds with the computer hardware industry over the last 20 years, given the dominant position it holds through the lock on PCs it has through Windows operating system. The world's largest software maker is betting that advances in hardware and computing will make it possible for computers to interact with people via speech, and that computers which can recognize handwriting will become as ubiquitous as Microsoft Windows operating system, which runs on more than 90% of the world's personal computers. All of this happened, but Microsoft did not do it. It was done by Google. Many of the holy grails of computing that have been worked on over the last 30 years will be solved within this 10-year period, with speech being in every device and having a device that's like a tablet that you just carry around. Again, this also happened. It is the smartphone revolution. Microsoft did not do it. Google did it, Apple did it. In fact, Microsoft is already selling software for such products aimed mainly at businesses rather than retail consumers. Last week, Microsoft, Arey, what did I do? Last week, Microsoft launched Speech Server for companies developing automated call centers. He also said advances in programming will allow software developers to create applications in less time by using visual representations of the inner workings of software rather than writing lines of programming code. Redmond, Washington based Microsoft is planning to spend $6.8 billion on research and development in its current business year to June, which the Microsoft chairman said will deliver many advancements in speech and other technology for Microsoft. Right, so ये था एक, और दूसरा वाला जो मैं शेयर करना चाहता था वो है, होल्ड ऑन, क्लोज दिस, because around the same time Google launched a product that nobody could have anticipated. It was about, it was, hold on, कहाँ गया? Yeah, कहाँ गया ये रहा. Share. This was Google launching a product that was a direct attack on Hotmail and Yahoo Mail. It was called Gmail. Can you see this? Hold on. Hmm. So Google starts mail service to take on rivals, and this was the launch of Gmail, by the way. It was launched on April 1st, 2001, I think. Google Inc. is introducing free email service to send a blunt message. The makers of the world's most popular online search engine is pulling off the gloves in its clash with high-tech heavyweights Yahoo and Microsoft. The company unleashed the latest blow in a fierce fight for the web supremacy late on Wednesday by promising to deliver 250 to 500 times more storage space than the market leading email service provided by Yahoo and Microsoft Hotmail. Yahoo, at that point of time, the mailbox size was 6 MB. And if you paid money, you could get 10 MB. Hotmail had 2 MB. And if you paid money, you could get 10 MB or 12 MB or even 20 MB in some cases. Gmail came and said, we are given 1 GB for free. सबको बर्बाद कर दिया. एक रात में सबको बर्बाद कर दिया. सब लोग जीमेल पे आ गए. But there's a catch to the email. Hoping to turn a profit from the service, dubbed Gmail privately held Google has programmed its computers to dissect the topics being discussed in the emails and then deliver text-based ads related to the subject. So Google ने ये किया था कि Google said कि they were also launching their advertising product, right? AdWords. So the thing was that the text in the email will get automatically scanned, and on the sidebar you will see ads. And there was a lot of privacy concerns about this. And people were saying that Google is going to read your emails, and companies which were opposed to Google anyway, उन्होंने भी इसका बहुत फायदा उठाया. They said कि Google's email service may be giving you a lot of space, but Hotmail is truly private and secure. Of course, none of it was private and secure. Yahoo Mail was not private and secure. Hotmail was not private and secure. Gmail was not going to be private and secure. But eventually, people decided to just go for the bigger storage space thing. यार मैं कहाँ क्लिक कर रहा हूँ? My hands are slipping. I'm clicking all over the place. I accidentally opened the audio software, Audacity. Let me close it. Fortunately, you can't see what is happening on my desktop. It's a mess. Akash says Bill Gates भी Elon Musk की तरह ही था. सब एक जैसे हैं भैया. That is the whole point. Every corporation का CEO is trying to do what is good for his corporation. He's not a tech visionary. He's not someone who foresees the future. They are building products. They're trying to sell them. And the best way to sell something is by branding yourself as a gyani who knows what is going to happen in the future. Samira says Ecosia is a browser that promises to plant trees when we use it for search. Yeah, again, I don't know what is the point. If they want to plant trees, they can plant trees anyway. हमारे search करने से क्या होता है इसका? Avarabella says, in terms of IQ, the difference between us and them won't be much, as we could be also at the same level of intelligence, considering we would be able to access to cyborgs. I don't know what that means exactly. How would we be the same level of intelligence? Because see, here's the thing. हमारा intelligence को मापने का जो तरीका है ना, it is based on our understanding of the human brain. इसलिए मैं कहता हूँ आइजैक आर्थर के चैनल पे जाओ, watch his videos about AI. We don't know what AI will be like. And I talked about this. Suppose you take a baby into the balcony and it is raining and you say, what is this? The baby will say it's rain. But how did the baby know what you were asking about? Because balcony में तो और भी बहुत सारी चीजें दिखती है, garden दिखता है, सड़क दिखती है. The baby for some reason is able to tell the difference. The baby is able to tell the nuance between your question. The baby knows you're not talking about these things and that you're talking about the one thing that is different. AI आने से पहले हमारे कंप्यूटर्स को एक बेबी के लेवल का इंटेलिजेंस पहले एक्वायर करना पड़ेगा. And their way of acquiring that intelligence is not even going to be the way humans acquire it. There are science fiction stories where there are androids which have heuristic programs and they learn with time. But I suppose that is also a very human way of looking at things. So maybe you are right. I'm saying ये 100% certainty के साथ हम नहीं बोल सकते कि हमारा और उनका इंटेलिजेंस लेवल एक जैसा होगा. हो सकता है उनका इंटेलिजेंस एक अलग प्रकार का इंटेलिजेंस हो जिसके बारे में हम सोच भी नहीं सकते. Kawan says, have you heard about Saudi's new plans for a futuristic city called the Line? Do you think it's practical and will be emulated by other countries? I have not heard about this. Last I heard that there was some Saudi rich guy who was going to use $1 trillion to create a horizontal skyscraper. I don't understand the point of this. इन लोगों के पास बहुत पैसा हो गया है, कुछ काम धाम नहीं है, इसीलिए फन टॉय प्रोजेक्ट्स में ये सब लगा रहे हैं। दुनिया भर में लोगों के पास खाने को नहीं है, ये लोग $1 ट्रिलियन के सोए हुए बिल्डिंग्स बनाने की बात कर रहे हैं। Share says TikTok is also collaborating with edtech companies according to some of my friends in the industry. 30 seconds में lectures की आदत हो जाएगी बच्चों को, वैसे भी attention spam के 12 बजे हुए हैं. Yeah, but I suppose it won't last. See, I told you ना, जैसे कोई आदमी एक चिल्लाऊ न्यूज़ चैनल को 1 घंटे के लिए देख लेगा, पर वो एक चिल्लाऊ पॉडकास्ट नहीं सुनेगा 1 घंटे के लिए, बिकॉज़ ही व्हेन दे आर हियरिंग समथिंग, दे स्टिल नीड टू मेक सेंस ऑफ व्हाट दे आर बीइंग टोल्ड, राइट? सो कुछ चीज़ें मीडियम से बाहर नहीं जा सकती। एंटरटेनमेंट वीडियो 30 सेकंड के हो सकते हैं, पर जब लोगों को कोई चीज़ सीखने की ज़रूरत पड़ेगी, दे विल नॉट बी हैप्पी विद अ 30 सेकंड और अ 60 सेकंड वीडियो, एंड टिकटॉक अंडरस्टैंड्स दिस। दैट इज़ व्हाई इट्स एक्सटेंडिंग इट्स वीडियो लेंथ टू 10 मिनट्स। Dhirubhai says, actually, considering how cloud computing like Amazon Web Services help you use computers without buying the hardware or network, I would say he was right. AWS began only 7 to 8 years after this. Someone says, web programming may, I think what he said sort of happened. Yeah, but Microsoft did not do it, right? Abby says, talking about Gyanis who predict the future, did you read the article on Yuval Noah Harari by Darshan Narayan? I read it yesterday and she raises some really good points. No, I have not read it. I suppose somebody did send it, but I have not read it yet. Someone says, IQ tests are so biased. It's mostly based on logic or math, and if one fails the test, that does not mean they're dumb. Yeah, IQ tests are not a measure of intelligence. They're designed to evaluate intelligence on a certain set number of verticals, and if that works, someone is said to have high IQ. But a person can have low IQ and still be very good at some stuff. Sudipta says, tab for a cause is where you get credit point when you open a new tab and get shown an ad, and you use that credit to support charities. This is not a new model, by the way. There were services back in the early 2000s called, there was a service called Check Mail. Check as in check, CHEQUE mail. And the model was that sign up for an account on our email service. Whenever you get paid to check your email, that was the gimmick. It was called Check Mail, and the tagline was get paid to check your email. So the idea was that whenever you open an email, an ad runs on the sidebar, and you get a part of the revenue that that company makes. I don't know if anyone ever made the money. It was obviously an American service, but this was also the just after the dot-com bust. A lot of companies just disappeared because they had no actual revenue model. सब लोग बोल रहे थे डॉट कॉम शुरू कर रहे हैं, डॉट कॉम शुरू कर रहे हैं, सबने एक एक शुरू कर दिया, but it was ridiculous. A lot of these companies had no revenue model, no idea what to do with themselves, and they all went bust. So this model is not new. Samira says, what is the tune that you hum often? This is Star Wars. Nights is here. Nights says, thank you for being a member, Nights. I think the concept of influencers has a good and not so good side. Anand Mahindra shared a post on Twitter giving someone a house or a job, etc. Is all soft marketing. Not that bad, I guess. But, and I don't know what, your sentence kind of got cut off there. But before we proceed, let me show you another one. Yeah, so here's what happened after Google launched Gmail. Can you see this? Netizens clamor for Gmail ID in Siberia. What happened when Google launched Gmail was that it was not a public service, and it was not like you can just go on and sign up for an account. It was how do I put it? There was invites. So I open my Gmail on the sidebar on the left side. You have 5 invites left. Invite your friends. You click on it. I can enter someone's Yahoo address and they will get a Gmail invite. and these things became so sought after that people were literally paying money to get a Gmail account. And this is a funny part. Let me show you. Let me read out a bit of this. This is from May 26, 2004. In a frenzy reminiscent of the dot-com mania of the late 1990s, web users are bidding for invitations to join Google's test email service before the company begins giving them en masse. Google's Gmail service will be supported by advertising and will be free for users when it launches for the public. But those testing the service in its beta version are able to invite a small number of friends to join, a loophole that has created a kind of an underground market on the internet as people from all around the world angle to secure the most desirable email address. Like it's Gmail, right? If your name is John and you get John at gmail.com, you are John at gmail.com for the rest of your life. And most people would not be that lucky. They will have to go for John12345 at gmail.com. So people were paying money to get their favorite email address. As of Monday afternoon, there were nearly 300 Gmail listings on web auction site eBay. eBay पे invites बिक रहे थे, covering invitations and sales of already registered usernames. Some invitations were fetching bids of around $100. One poster on the website Gmail Swap, किसी ने website show कर दिया था Gmail Swap, which is not affiliated with Google, offered a certificate for a donkey ride down the Grand Canyon valued at $200 in exchange for a Gmail invitation. Another person used as a lure an authentic Trojan costume that he said was from the Hollywood epic Troy, starring Brad Pitt. लोग ये सब चीजें बेच रहे थे जीमेल इनवाइट के बदले में. A resident of France appealed to users of the online community Craigslist for an account, offering in exchange a beautiful postcard from Paris with a message of choice to anyone you like or love. Another poster to the service vowed to pray for the person generous enough to hand over an invitation, with one exception: unable to repair male pattern baldness. Gmail has been in beta testing since April and offers significantly more storage than rival blah 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 Gmail के बारे में है. Last में लिखा है, meanwhile, the frenzied search for Gmail accounts already is the subject of satire on thespoof.com, which featured a story headlined "Woman offers firstborn child for Gmail account." uh, boom, 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 boom. Sudipta says, okay, already read that. Knight's already read that. Sumana says, I came across an article on CNN. South Korea actually has a virtual influencer. These are big, actually. There are entire Twitch accounts with a virtual character doing a live stream. Like you go and a character is there and you type in certain things in the chat and they respond to it. Like the range of those responses is not very wide, but there are virtual characters already doing this. And South Korea, Japan, obviously they're front runners, but China is also getting into it. And eventually, I suppose some dharmic version will come from India also, क्योंकि हमको हर चीज में अपने पेट्रियटिज्म को पेलना होता है. Kavish says, don't hum so loudly, वरना डिज्नी यहाँ भी क्लेम मार देगा. अरे इतना अच्छा थोड़ी करता हूँ. I'm pretty sure I'm bad at it, so they will never detect it. Knight says, Insta influencer promoting a product that they may not use themselves, but don't hold the accountability for it as well. Yeah, Instagram पे ये बहुत होता है. In fact, that is not even the most toxic thing that is happening on Instagram. Some of the more toxic things are people misrepresenting their real life in order to appear more prosperous than they actually are, in order to sell courses about how to become that prosperous just like them. So someone will say, buy my course for $500 to learn how I became a millionaire before the age of 12, I suppose. And when they buy the course, they find out that he did not become a millionaire. He became a millionaire by selling this course, and he became capable of selling this course by false advertising. Like he used to pay models to come and pose with him and pose in a big mansion and in front of nice cars so that people would think that he's rich. Fake it till you make it, basically. Instagram is a cesspool of these scams. Sumana says, they said this influencer never ages, no scandals will do what the business wants. Hmm? Oh, okay. Yeah. As in the virtual influencer thing. Yeah. I suppose there's a market for it, but it's not wide spanning. People will still prefer to interact with real people. Sridhar says, sorry, Kavan says, oh yeah, virtual podcasts are also a thing. Have you heard of Hollow Live? Nope, I haven't. Sridhar says Yuval Noah Harari is criticized by experts for false representation of history, and also he's biased for AI and future. I don't know what biased for AI and future is, what that is supposed to mean. Are you saying he's optimistic about AI? That's not a crime. He can be optimistic about AI. It is up to the readers to know, it's up to the readers to take his interpretation of history with a pinch of salt. Don't just read his book and rely on it as if it's a religious book. Read other books also. Maybe he has a point. Maybe other books will expose you to points that are not like his point. Yashwan says hilarious. Knight says even OnePlus followed Gmail's invite system and it was such a hype and worked wonders for them as well. Dhirubhai says, LOL, I think I was waiting for an invite forever, but eventually Gmail opened it for everyone before I got an account. Good times. The email conversations and search were game changers. Yes. Let's create a virtual Baba. Share says, all Babas are virtual by default. कभी कोई real tangible benefit create किया है किसी ने भाई? That's a fair point. Although I think Sumana was talking about a 3D animated Baba. Memories of the movie says, fake it so you make it. हमारे पैसे से ही मिलेनियर बनने का plan है उनका. Yeah, exactly. Let me go to another one. I think this is probably going to be the last one. Yeah, this one. This is not really that exciting. Hold on. This is not really that exciting, but it shows you yet another example of what a billionaire will say in order to sell stuff. Can you see this? Yeah, blogs may open gates to communication and future. This is a punny headline, of course, because Bill Gates is who said it. But at this point, blogs were being created by everyone. Blogger.com was the biggest blogging platform. Google was acquiring it. Microsoft was trying to start its own blogging service, and it was called MSN Spaces, and it did not work very well. But you will realize that when Microsoft ka Bill Gates says that blogs are the future of communication, he's not doing so because he has some epiphany about blogs. He's doing so because he's trying to sell Microsoft ka blogging product. So again, when a rich guy, when an industrialist, corporate industrialist, CEO, billionaire makes a prediction about the future, your brain should automatically go to the point about, uh, are they trying to sell something? And if they are not, look at what their company is building then. Maybe that is something that they're trying to create hype for. That's clearly what Microsoft's Bill Gates was doing at this point. His company was trying to create blogs. His company had hired a lot of bloggers to praise Microsoft products. What's his name? Scobalizer was one of them. He was an official paid Microsoft blogger. This was influencer marketing before influencer marketing. Entire blogs were being bought by companies and put to the task of praising that company's products. Microsoft was the first to do it. You'll just see. I'll just show you. Microsoft Corporation Chairman Bill Gates often takes the stage to talk about the future of software. Oh yeah, future of software technology. But on Thursday, he also told corporate executives that weblogs and the way they are distributed can be used as business communication tools. What blogging and these notifications are about is that you make it easy to communicate. Mr. Gates told executives gathered at Microsoft's headquarters for its annual CEO summit. And then it goes on. Gates described to his audience, which included Warren Buffett, Jeff Bezos, Michael Dell, Carly Fiorina, Barry Diller, and top business executives, how blogs worked, and suggested they could be used as tools for businesses to communicate with customers. It's getting away from the drawbacks of email and the drawbacks of a website. Mr. Gates added, we are progressively getting better and better at it. Indeed, Amazon.com, where Mr. Bezos is chief executive and co-founder, began offering RSS feeds earlier this year, allowing users to subscribe for announcements of new products from the web's number one retailer. Microsoft, which has recently amassed more than 700 employee bloggers talking up its products and software in development, is embracing blogs and RSS technology because they're yet another potential threat and opportunity, said Joe Wilcox, an analyst at Jupiter Research. So yeah, uh, and before the article ends, of course, a new Microsoft competitor, Google, has also embraced blogging as a way to deliver more information to web users and commercialize on the opportunity. Google, the number one web search company that has announced plans to go public, recently upgraded its blogger.com service, which it bought in 2003, by adding features that allow users to publish content from any email enabled device, such as cell phones and handheld devices, instead of RSS. However, Google is also promoting a rival syndication standard called Atom. These are obviously more technical matters. But yeah, Microsoft has made predictions about almost every single thing that is happening right now. But Microsoft didn't get around to doing it. And when the predictions were being made, the predictions were primarily being made to advertise Microsoft's own initiatives in these areas. That is my point. So that would be the last newspaper clipping. Let me just read the comments now. I'm already 1 घंटा हो चुका है. Hmm. Avarabella says, well, I am optimistic about AI and technology, and even if something bad happens, I would be dead till then anyway. Who knows? Maybe it will happen sooner than that. Never know. Shreya says, I could never understand how AI will be dangerous. It will still be a machine at the end of the day and would require some input to process and source of energy, right? Yeah, Shreyas, it will be. But what if it decides that it wants to be in charge of the energy source? That's the premise of most American science fiction stories, anyway. But there is a curious difference between the way American science fiction approaches technology and the way Russian science fiction does. American science fiction, you will find, is very dystopic about it. Oh no, the machines are coming for us. And this is, I think, it may be an extension of the anti-immigrant sentiment also. Oh no, the immigrants are coming for us. हमारे पास जो है वो हमसे ले लिया जाएगा. Never mind the fact that you are dominating those categories right now. In Russian science fiction, the idea was like, this is not really a view that I have. I read it in a book called Trillion Years Pre, A Brief History of Science Fiction. In Russian science fiction, no, not even there, I think. I think this was in an essay by Isaac Asimov, which again, I don't want to talk about. But the point was this: in Russian science fiction, when a robot is malfunctioning and doing something that humans don't want it to do, they fix it. And the next time you meet the robot, it's working fine. In American science fiction, the conclusion is, oh my god, the machines are too smart and too powerful. We must destroy them and return to a simpler way of life. It's a very conservative sentiment. It's a very लौट चलें उस कल्चरल पैराडाइज में जो आज से हजारों साल पहले था वाला टेंडेंसी. Shreya says, pulling the plug, pun intended, should always be an option na, if it misbehaves in any way. Yeah. Sumana says, no, AIs are being trained on neural networks that works like a brain. Eman says, मेरे comments नहीं आ रहे क्या? अरे आ गए भाई. देख रहे हैं तेरे comments सारे देखे मैंने. Shreya says, love, death and robots का एक episode याद आ गया. An intelligent vacuum cleaner trying to kill its owner. Hilarious. Yeah, I think I remember this one. First season, right? Rahul says, does anyone in the chat decide to change their DP to Indian flag? मुझे तो अब तक कोई नहीं दिख रहा. सब अपनी शक्लों पे हैं अभी भी. Kavan says, yeah, I love that show. Which show? Oh, this one. Love, Death and Robots. Okay. बट या 1 घंटा 4 मिनट हो गया. आज का लाइव स्ट्रीम खत्म करने का टाइम आ गया. आई रियली वांटेड टू शेयर दीज न्यूज़पेपर क्लिपिंग्स बिकॉज आई हैव बीन holding on to these for quite some time. Let me just share with you in the chat the URL where you can read all of these things. It's a blog I created on Quora quite some time ago. Quora का यूज़ करने का कोई पॉइंट नहीं है, बट इस ब्लॉग में आपको वो सब मिल जाएगा. It's called the Paper Cut. So here's the link. I've shared it in the chat. If you want, you can click on it and you can go and check out the blog. वहाँ पे ये सारे newspaper clippings मिलेंगे और भी बहुत सारे हैं. But these all came from a file that I was maintaining when I was around 20 years old. And yeah, you saw a bunch of it. But before I end, I'll just remind everyone that if you want to support this channel, you can do so by clicking the join button below. And if you click the join button, you'll be committing to a monthly payment of a certain amount of money. And if you want to support me on Patreon, you can do so at patreon.com/Vimo. Again, a monthly or an annual pledge. If you don't want to do any of these things, you can support me by going to my blog at vimo.stck.me. There is a support button there, and you can click on it, and you can make a contribution of an amount of your choice. If you want to listen to the audio version of this podcast, you can do so at www.vimo.in. And that is where all the episodes are available in audio format. And also links to all the audio apps where the podcast is available. So yeah, that is about it. I Today is August 3, Wednesday. Tomorrow is Thursday, and I will see you at 10 p.m. on this channel and on Twitch at 10 p.m. We'll talk about something else. Maybe I'll be taking calls tomorrow. We'll see. But yeah, thank you for joining today. And I wish that you have a great day ahead and good night. Thanks for watching. Bye.